Hi guys. Hi guys. So today we're going to welcome back again to my channel, and we're here for the next for and for today's video. We're going to discuss chapter 5 summary. So let's go. Chapter 5 Ethernet. Ethernet. Chapter 5 Ethernet. In chapter 5, you'll learn Ethernet protocol, LAN switches, address resolution protocol. First topic, Ethernet protocol. Ethernet encapsulation. Ethernet is most widely used LAN technology today, defined in the IEEE 802.2 and 802.3 standards. It supports data bandwidths of 10 Mbps, 100, 1000, 10,000, 4,000, and 100,000, or 1 gig, 10 gig, 40 gig, and 100 gig. Ethernet operates in the data link layer and the physical layer. Ethernet relies on the two separate sublayers of the data link layer to operate the logical link control and the MAC sublayers. The Ethernet LLC sublayer handles the communication between the upper layers and the lower layers. It is implemented in software, and its implementation is independent of the hardware. The MAC sublayer constitutes the lower sublayer of the data link layer. MAC is implemented by hardware, typically in the computer. MAC the MAC sublayer has two primary responsibilities: data encapsulation and media access control. The data encapsulation provides three primary functions: frame, de- delimiting, addressing, error detection. Media access control is responsible for the placement of frame on the media and the removal of the frames and from the media. This layer communicates directly with the physical layer. Ethernet evolution. Since 1973, Ethernet standards have evolved, specifying faster and more flexible versions of the technology. Early versions of Ethernet were relatively slow at 10 Mbps. The latest versions of Ethernet operate the 10 gigabytes per second and faster. Ethernet frame fields. So this is the sample of Ethernet frame fields. MAC address and hexadecimal. An Ethernet MAC address is a 48-bit binary value expressed as 12 hexadecimal digits. Hexadecimal is used to represent Ethernet MAC address and IP version 6 address. MAC address were created to identify the actual source and destination. The MAC address rules established by IEEE. The MAC frame processing. When a device is forwarding a message on Ethernet network, it attaches either information to the frame. Bakit? Ha? MAC address representations. Use the IP config or all command on a Windows host to identify the MAC address of an Ethernet adapter. On a Mac or Linux host, the ifconfig command is used. Unicast MAC address. A unicast MAC address is the unique address used when a frame is sent from a single transmitting device to a single destination device. Broadcast MAC address. Many network protocols such as DHCP and ARP use broadcasts. A broadcast packet contains a destination IPv4 address that has all ones in the host portion, indicating that all hosts on the local network will receive the and process the packet. Multicast MAC address. Multicast addresses allow a source device to send a packet to a group of devices. LAN switches. Switch fundamentals. A layer 2 Ethernet switch makes its forwarding decision based only on the layer 2 Ethernet MAC address. A switch that is powered on will have an empty MAC address table as it has not yet learned the MAC address or for the four attached PCs. Learning MAC address. The switch dynamically builds the MAC address table. The process to learn the source MAC address is switches MAC examine all incoming frames for new source MAC address information to learn. If the source MAC address is known, it is added to the table along with the port number. If the source MAC address does exist, the switch updates the refresh timer for that entry. Filtering frames. As switch receive frames from different devices, it is able to populate its MAC address table by examining the source MAC address of every frame. MAC address tables on connected switches. Sending a frame to default gateway. Frame forwarding methods on Cisco switches. So switches use one of the following forwarding methods for switching data between network ports. Store and forward and cut-through. Cut-through switching. In cut-through switching, the switch buffers just enough of the frame to read the destination MAC address so that it can determine to which port to forward the data. The switch does not perform any error checking on the frame. Memory buffering on switches. An Ethernet switch may use a memory buffering technique to store frames before forwarding them. Buffering may also be used when the destination port is busy due to congestion on the switches.
Doon ko nga sa kabila at dito ako manunod.
Ano? Ano ba ba? Wait lang po. Ano ba ba? Ha? Ano? Alin? Ginagamit mo kuya. Mamaya pag ano. Memory buffering switches. An Ethernet switch may use buffering technique to store frames before switching. Forwarding them. Mapping may also be used to destination port until it can be transmitted. The post-base memory and shared memory. Duplex and speed settings. The duplex has two types of the full duplex and the half duplex. Both ends of the connection can send and receive simultaneously. Only one end of the connection can send at a time. Duplex mismatch is a common cause of performance issues with Ethernet links. Auto mid Auto MDIX connections between specific devices such as switch to router, and switch to host, and router to host device once required to use specific cable types. Last part of the chapter 5, address resolution protocol. Destination and same network, there are primary addresses assigned to a device on an Ethernet LAN. As an example, PZA sends an IP packet to the file server on the same network. The layer 2 Ethernet frame contains the destination MAC address, source MAC address. Destination and remote network. When the destination IP address is on the remote network, the device MAC address will be the address of the host default. In the figure, PCA is sending an IP packet to a web server on a remote network. The destination IP address is that of the file server. Introduction to ARP. When a device sends an Ethernet frame, it contains these two addresses: destination MAC address, source MAC address. Determine the destination MAC address. The device uses ARP. ARP provides two basic functions. ARP functions. Ethernet device refer to an ARP table in its memory to find the MAC address that is mapped to the IPv4 address. ARP remote. Removing entries from an ARP table. ARP table. This will be the sample of ARP table. These are the packet tracer of ARP table. ARP broadcast. As a broadcast frame, an ARP request is received